The biggest one is you just have to work really hard, and sounds easy,
Yeah.
but most agents just don't work very hard.
Uh-huh.
They come into the job thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna be a real estate agent. I can work whenever I want." If you have someone that comes in and is like hungry and is willing to work, I think that's the number one thing. The second thing would just be people have to like you as a person. No matter how hard you work, if you have to deal with people and if they don't feel comfortable with you, it's not gonna work.
All right. Welcome back to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a truly remarkable guest who stands out as one of the busiest and most successful realtors in the Philadelphia metro area. He's a key member of the award-winning Rosenthal Group, bringing a unique blend of legal sales and coaching expertise to his work, and he's passionate about helping others. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to have you. So let's dive right in. Brett, you've helped hundreds of sellers and buyers achieve optimum success levels in their real estate aspirations. With your background spanning law, sales, and coaching, how do you integrate these diverse experiences to create such a powerful impact for your clients?
I think basically with the law thing, there's just certain unique aspects to like dealing with clients when you have some kind of legal background, whether you actually directly use it or not. So I think like some of the stuff I've learned in law has been really helpful to apply to particular real estate transactions, especially with like the negotiation part. I think it's definitely like stood out.
Yeah, I'm sure it differentiates you from a lot of the other realtors in the area too, and you can really draw on that, that experience to help out your clients in ways that a lot of other people just can't do.
I would agree with that, definitely.
Excellent. So in your LinkedIn bio, you mentioned being a likable person from the start of the real estate relationship to the end, and even after transactions. How crucial is that personal connection and transparent communication in building trust and fostering long-term relationships in real estate?
So personally, I think that's like the most important part, even more than knowing anything about real estate. I think the people have to trust you, like you, want to talk to you, want to deal with you on a daily basis, because often that is how it works. And I think a lot of agents like focus too much on the real estate rather than the relationships with clients. So that's definitely helped me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're helping people with one of the most important decisions of their lives. If you can be, a likable, approachable person, that really lends a little bit more credibility to you as someone who can really set them up in the right place and really look after their best interests as well. And they know they're getting the right situation for them.
Yep.
So your offices are located in key areas like Rittenhouse Square and Bluebell. Cover all areas of Philly and the surrounding suburbs. What are some of the key differences or unique aspects of serving clients across such a diverse range?
I think like in my market at least, it's like it's two different markets. So like what I'm seeing in one market with as far as like how many houses are in the market or how competitive it is might be different than the other market. So it's almost like you have to learn two different markets. The process is basically the same, but you kind of just have to know what the market's like in each area to know how to react to the particular offer or what you're selling the property at.
Yeah, I was able to spend some time out in that area. My first year out of college, I worked just outside of Philly a little bit, and it was growing fast when I was out there, and I'm sure you still seeing some pretty good growth out there, if I had to imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So the Rosenthal Group has received numerous awards, including the Chairman's Circle and Real Trends America's Best, and you've personally been ranked in HomeSnap's top 5%. What are the core philosophies or strategies that drive such consistent high performance for your team and yourself?
I think it's like a combination of a bunch of things, but like activity, I think you have to be a lot of agents don't treat this like it's a full-time job and they think that just they could do one or two things a day. And I've learned that like you have to do a ton of different things and unique things and different things to stand out where there's so many like agents, especially in Philadelphia. And then again, it's the relationship part, like dealing with clients, talking to them, staying in touch with them, doing different things with them, and just kind of like keeping them updated. And again, they have to like you, so you want to make it so they want to call you and want to talk.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. In such an active market, I'm sure you have to really focus on having some stuff that differentiates you from everybody else. There's There's just so many options out there in that area. And if you
Hmm.
can't stand out a little bit, you're going to kind of get lost in the fluff there, so to speak. So having something that really separates you is really crucial.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I've started to learn that the crazier the things you post on like a social media, having nothing to do with real estate,
Uh,
will actually turn into more leads than just sticking to the basics that everybody does.
yeah, there's certainly something to be said for that. You can go viral for the right or wrong reasons, I guess, but it helps to get your name out there either way.
Exactly.
Excellent, excellent. So you've had over 155 transactions in the last 2 years and can sell a home in all markets. What are some of the key negotiation skills or market insights you employ to achieve success for your clients, whether it's a buyer in a competitive market or a seller in a challenging one?
As far as a buyer, you have to be like ready to go immediately. You can't like be one of these agents that are like, "Oh, we'll see it next week." You have to just get up and go, and be the first one to everything. And as far as sellers, I think just with all the experience I've had and all the listings I've had, I kind of like know the market or the way to sell, in specific markets and how to market it and I use different ways to market, and I just have a good relationship with other agents to get them into the door.
Yeah, that's crucial. Using everything at your disposal out there. Like we said, it's I'm sure it's a challenging market with so many people out there, and the more tools that you can have in your toolkit, so to speak, the better chance that you have of being successful in a tough market like that.
Definitely.
So beyond single family homes, you also handle condos, multifamily, and investment properties. How do you adapt your approach when assisting clients with these different types of real estate investments?
So with a single family, you're thinking like a little more like long term. These people want to be here for, let's say, 10 years at least. And you want to like kind of give them an idea of what the investment value is a little bit more long term. The multifamily, again, it's also like long term, but it's more like more investment than actually living in the area and what you're gonna like in the area, because it
Yep,
kind
yep,
of,
absolutely.
in my experience, hasn't mattered. And what was the other one you said? I'm sorry, I just forgot that it was single family.
Investment properties as well.
Yeah, and then investment, it's more of just like what the property will sell for within a few years. So you have to like find a good initial deal and then have to kind of have some experience with like renovations and how much that's going to cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure dealing with someone with your level of experience there really helps out potential investors too. Someone that's been in the market for a long time and seen some people have success with investments, and it really just gives them a, let's call it, the warm and fuzzies. When they're working with you,
Uh,
so they know
yeah,
you've
and
been
I
down
kind of
that
like
road and know what you're seeing for sure.
Yeah, and I've also seen people make mistakes. So I kind of like know what to tell them to avoid.
Yeah, what are some of the maybe the mistakes and pitfalls that you've seen for people trying to get
I
into
think the
that
biggest,
investment?
yeah, I think the biggest mistakes would be like the investor that comes in an area that's like only has a ceiling so high right now, and they'll like make it like it's a luxury home in the nicest areas of like Los Angeles, and
Uh huh. Yep.
they're never gonna like recoup that money.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see how that would be a thing. Yeah, you got to temper your expectations at times and really work with the area that you're in with those things. And you always hear that the most important thing in real estate's location, 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 of course. And if
Hmm.
you're trying to outkick your coverage, let's say on the home that you're putting on the market, it's just not going to work.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, so switching gears here just a little bit. One of your stated passions is helping others succeed in the real estate industry, and you're constantly looking to hire new agents and help them have instant success. What are the most important qualities you look for in new agents, and how do you empower them?
So I think the biggest one is you just have to work really hard, and sounds easy.
Yeah.
But most agents just don't work very
Uh
hard,
huh. Yeah.
and they come into the job thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I can work whenever I want." So if you have someone that comes in and is like hungry and is willing to work, I think that's the number one thing. The second thing would just be people have to like you as a person,
Yeah.
because no matter how hard you work, if you have to deal with people, and if they don't feel comfortable with you, it's not going to work. And then the third thing would just be like doing unique type things to get in front of clients, to have people find you. The biggest thing I've noticed is like real estate's changed over the last 20, 25 years, and you can't
Uh
do
huh.
the same things that like they did back then and like think that's all you have to do and it's going to work, because there's a lot more to do.
Yeah, and I think that that happens in a lot of industries too. With real estate, you know, you're probably putting a lot of your wins out there on social media or whatever. People are seeing all the highlights of, you know, how things look, and you're selling houses, and that all looks great. But behind closed doors, you know, there's quite a bit of work that's involved in that. And you know, it's I'm sure you have some people that just jump into it thinking, oh, this is going to be pretty easy. You know, like you said, set my own schedule, and then when they get into it, it's a bit of a shock, you know, that how much work it actually takes to make these transactions happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So my experience is a little bit. I worked in oil and gas for just shy of 10 years as an engineer in the oil and gas industry, and we saw a ton of that. You know, people would come in, and you see the big salaries, and you see, you know, people making pretty good living in the oil and gas industry, especially for our area. And it was always just super difficult to hire people because, you know, it's just tough to get people to work when you're doing 100-hour work weeks. And you know, there's a lot of money, and you can do pretty well, but it comes with some drawbacks too, and there's a lot of work that you don't see on the surface, and it's the same with most industries like that.
Yeah, can imagine.
So with your background in real estate law and business technology, how do you see the real estate industry evolving, particularly with new tools or approaches? What's next for your real estate in your opinion?
So AI is kind of like doing a lot of things that we used to have to do manually, which has helped if you use it. I use it heavily. I've used it. Our company does a lot of stuff with AI that makes things easier for us. But I don't know exactly, like, other than that, what technology is going to do differently with real estate. Because I do think there's a personal approach. There has to be something personal also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's tough to tell. I'm not sure.
Yeah, AI is it seems to be the future. You know, a lot of people are heading in that direction, but especially with real estate, I think that personal touch is still going to be really prevalent
Yeah.
no matter what. You know, people want to meet with the real person. They want someone that they can know and trust walking them through the transaction. And so that's going to be crucial. But I think the AI thing will make a lot of people a lot more efficient, and, you know, be able to handle things a lot easier than maybe they otherwise could have.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, for aspiring real estate professionals or even seasoned agents looking to elevate their game, what's one piece of advice you would offer them to achieve sustained success and impact in the dynamic industry?
So I guess my first piece of advice would be to find what works for you best and not listen to what another agent is telling you to do because it works for them. Because I think there's so many different types of people within the industry that some things work better for others for different people. And you have to kind of figure out what works for you. So initially, trying all different types of approaches is probably the smartest thing to do. I found it with like internet, social media, blogging, stuff like that. Others find it with like cold calling and open houses and stuff like that, which didn't work for me. And then I think maintaining the key is you can never take your foot off the gas, and you just have to keep working during the slowest times. You just have to keep daily working so that it like eventually evens out and you keep going basically.
Yeah, I think that's crucial for sure. You got to always kind of be testing a little bit, and then when you find a path that really works for you, you know, you got to kind of put your foot on the gas and really work with that path, where, you know, you can get left behind by people that are maybe still have that hunger that, you know, if you lose that drive to really be successful, you know, there's always someone else that's willing to put in the work, you know, if you're not. So it's crucial in a lot of industries, but especially that one when you're kind of working for yourself. And, you know, like you said, everyone thinks it's going to be, oh, it'll be easy, you know, I'll set my own schedule. But, you know, you gotta really push yourself in those situations, because I'm sure it's easy to relax and, you know, not put in that work too.
Hmm. Definitely.
Excellent, excellent. So this conversation's been incredibly insightful. Showcase not just your expertise, but your genuine passion for both your clients and the real estate community. Your dedication is excellent. Thank you for sharing your North Fork experience with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, for our listeners, maybe in the Philly metro area and beyond, they're looking for a top tier real estate professional, or perhaps agents who are looking to join a high performance team, what's the best way to get them to connect with you?
I guess you could connect with me. You can call me 267-342-8001. Probably the best way to get me though is Instagram. My Instagram's pretty easy to remember. It's Top Philly Realtor. And on there you'll see real estate content and a bunch of other just crazy stuff, which actually makes people find me more than the real estate. But that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that's fantastic. We'll make sure we include those details in the show notes so people can get a hold of you. So that's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Brett Rosenthal. And thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.